All right. We're ready for the treasurer to call the roll.
Mr. Trimmer.
Here.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Here.
Mr. Wallace.
Here.
Mr. Glista.
Here.
Mrs. Carnegie is absent.
Approval of minutes, July 14, 2015 special meeting minutes, July 22 special meeting minutes, July 23 special meeting minutes, July 23 special meeting minutes work session, July 23 regular meeting minutes, and the July 28th special meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Treasurer call the roll, please.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Under finance, item number 1, recommend approval of the financial report for the month of July 2015.
So moved.
Second. Treasurer call the roll, please.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item 2, recommend approval of accounts payable, payroll, and benefit expenditures for July 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Treasurer call the roll.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item 3, recommend approval of advances and advance returns for July 2015.
So moved.
Second. Treasurer call the roll, please.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item 4, recommend approval to set aside funds under Senate Bill 345 methodology for capital equipment in the amount of $372,560.10 for fiscal 2015-16. The prior year was $368,584.26.
So moved.
Second.
Treasurer call the roll.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes, and we have an addendum under the financial report. Addendum item number 1, recommend approval to accept a resolution to amend site work and demolition contract for the high school stadium track renovation project, Phase 1, with Barnett and Sons Trucking and Excavating Incorporated. This will include alternate 3 of its bid in the amount of $500 for work to be performed around the pedestrian walking surface at the north side of the running track. This addendum increases the contract sum to $21,500.
So moved.
Second.
Treasurer call the roll, please.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Under accounts payable, item 1, Goshen Township Police, $3,333.16.
So moved.
Second. Treasurer call the roll.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Under recognitions, Mr. Phillips.
Well, first, I'd like to show how much we're appreciative of our support personnel, custodial crew, food services, transportation, our aides. This year was first time we started school before Labor Day, and to go into the schools, they were unbelievable. If you looked at the floors, classrooms, the buildings, they're immaculate, and a lot of work and effort went into that, and I would like to recognize all the efforts that they put in summer, and that includes our technology departments. Again, when you talk about support personnel, sometimes they're the ones that they're working every day preparing for those students to come and for those teachers to come in their classrooms, and I want to give kudos out to them for a job well done. And also for our staff, our faculty and staff, for a smooth opening week, smooth opening days, and I look forward to a very exciting 2015-16 school year. And also, not on here, but I see she was approved at the last meeting, I would like to introduce the board to Amanda Davis, our 5th and 6th grade school counselor. Stand up.
Hi, Amanda. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good job, Mr. Leniger, in the back there.
It was nothing.
We might start 2 weeks earlier next year now. What do you think?
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Mike, look at Mike's eyes.
WBEA comments. No. WBCEA comments. Visitors' comments, correspondence, report to the board, old business, and new business. Item number 1, recommend approval to enter into an agreement with the Village of Beloit for ambulance service for the 2015-16 fall season at a rate of $75 per game. No change from the 2014-15 season for up to 24 games. So moved. Second, treasurer call the roll, please.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item 2, recommend approval for the superintendent to purchase flowers on behalf of the school board for the purposes of granting condolences on an as-needed basis for the 15-16 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Treasurer call the roll.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item 3, recommend approval of Transportation 2015-16, adopt routes and stops, and give authorization to make changes and adjustments as needed in the interest of safety and efficiency.
So moved.
Second.
Treasurer call the roll, please.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item 4, recommend approval to enter into an agreement with Neola to provide consulting service and management of school board online policies for the 2015-16 school year, estimated at $2,990, and this includes online annual maintenance fee and 2 yearly updates.
So moved.
Second. Treasurer call roll, please.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Ms. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item 5, recommend approval to adopt the Online Warrior Academy handbook for the 2015-16 school year.
So moved.
Second. Treasurer call roll, please.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item 6, recommend approval to John Zamorelli, Young and Alive, and Jazz Band to travel to Orlando, Florida from December 26, 2015 to January 3, 2016, pending completion of proper paperwork.
So moved.
Second. Treasurer call the roll, please.
Ms. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item 7, recommend approval to accept the following gifts and donations from anonymous to the West Branch High School Band for flagline uniforms in the amount of $3,000. Also anonymous, the West Branch High School Band for majorette uniforms for $2,401.45. The Knox PTO for both the Knox Principal Fund K2 field trip busing for $1,677.75, and also for iPads in the amount of $4,600. It's a pretty nice donation by Knox PTO. Also to Smith Landscaping, donations of services valued at $229 for middle school summer fertilization to practice fields. Also Smith Landscaping for a donation of services valued at $399 for the high school practice field summer fertilization.
So moved.
Second.
Treasurer call the roll, please.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item 8, under personnel. Item A, recommend approval to employ Abby Millard as lead mentor for the 2015-16 school year.
So moved.
Second. Treasurer call the roll.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item B, recommend approval to employ Kay Hetler to provide gifted testing for the 2015-16 school year on an as-needed basis at the rate of $15 per hour.
So moved.
Second. Treasurer call the roll.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item C, recommend approval to accept the resignation of Tom Prees as freshman football coach for the 2015-16 school year.
So moved. Second.
Treasurer call the roll.
Ms. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item D, recommend approval to grant the following supplementals for the 2015-16 school year pending certification. Freshman football coach Chad Butcher and middle school football coach Tom Prees.
So moved.
Second. Treasurer call the roll.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item E, recommend approval of the following additions to the 2015-16 classified substitute list pending certification. Kimberly Cameron, Carrie France, and Darlene Unger.
So moved.
Second.
Treasurer call the roll.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item F, recommend approval of the following additions to the 2015-16 certificated substitute list pending certification. Cynthia Heilman and Catherine Hollenbaugh.
So moved.
Second. Treasurer call the roll.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item G, recommend approval to grant supplementals to the following for the 2015-16 school year as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Treasurer call the roll.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Item H, recommend approval to employ the following as ticket takers for the 2015-16 school year as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Treasurer call the roll.
Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Glista.
Yes.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes. Need a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
So declared.